The bullet comments told me to marry an older bachelorette. After taking their advice, I'm having a blast. My mom died early, my dad didn't care for me, and no one in the family could stand the sight of me. Later, my parents sent me, at 20, to marry the 38-year-old Olivia. Legend has it she'd been married and divorced 3 times, and the men she'd been with could fill the entire male model market of Hangzhou. Originally, my younger brother was supposed to marry her, but he cried and threw a fit, threatening to hang himself. He insisted that as the student union president, his future was bright, and he would never marry into a family like that. So my stepmother turned her attention to me, frowning as she said in a passive-aggressive tone, "Since Simon is unwilling to marry into her family, I guess it's your lucky day. Finding you such a well-off wife, I've done right by your old Song family. As for Chloe, your fiancée, let your brother marry her. He can suffer a little and marry a poor girl." Everyone knew Chloe was beautiful, and a full 20 years younger than Olivia. Only a fool would choose a woman who was nearly 40. I shook my head and refused directly. "President Olivia is fabulously wealthy, perfect for my brother's career advancement. I'm not worthy." But a screen of bullet comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. "You're worthy, you two are the most compatible." Silly boy, agreed to it quickly. "This is a huge blessing for you. That's a female CO. You'll just have to cook for her and tidy up the house, and you'll live a glorious life, skipping 50 years of struggle. A gorgeous rose can't grow from barren soil. Chloe is a poisonous rose. Marrying her will be the ruin of you. Although I lacked ambition, I had one good quality. I listened to advice. The female CEO, Olivia, came to our door with a marriage contract, demanding that Simon marry into her family. My dad and stepmom were worried sick. This Olivia was rumored to abuse her husbands, spend her nights with male models, and was a 38-year-old bachelorette. No man would be willing to marry into her family. But my stepmom had gambled away the family's savings and even put her son up as collateral. Simon rushed back from school and slammed his vocational college student union president ID on the table, furious. "I'm going to be at least a department-level official in the future. I'll never marry a 38-year-old woman. If you force me, I'll die right here." Seeing her own son threatening to kill himself, my stepmom couldn't bear it and turned her attention to me. She wanted me to marry into the family in Simon's place. This way, they could get Olivia's money without making their own son suffer. A win-win. My stepmom grabbed me and tried to persuade me earnestly. "Arthur, President Olivia is a woman who makes big money. Being with her is a blessing you've earned over several lifetimes. So many men want to marry her and can't. Your stepmom went to great lengths to make this match for you." When her son heard he didn't have to marry the old woman, he stopped making a fuss. Putting on an air of someone who had seen through it all, he patted my shoulder. "We're doing this for your own good. It's so hard to make money in society these days, and you're not capable. You might as well just marry into a rich family." My old man sat to the side, leisurely blowing 2 smoke rings, and nodded indifferently. "Arthur, you're just a graduate from an ordinary 211 university. Your future definitely won't be as bright as your younger brother's, the student union president of a vocational college. The competition in society is so fierce now, you should just stay home and serve people." Just as I was about to refuse, rows of bullet comments lit up before my eyes. "Silly boy, hurry up and agree. Life shortcut is right in front of you. You'll get to skip 50 years of struggle. While others are worrying about making money, you'll have long lost interest in it. Although that Chloe is young and beautiful, she has a terrible temper and only knows how to spend money. If you marry her, your life is over." I froze. Could it be that heaven had sent someone to save me from my miserable life? I quickly asked in my mind. "But Olivia has a tendency for domestic violence. What if she hits me?" The bullet comments could apparently hear my thoughts, and the next line immediately answered my question. "Don't be afraid. You're handsome enough that she won't bear to hit you." I asked again. "Did all 3 of her ex-husbands divorced her, and they all lost their masculine dignity. 2 of them cheated, and the other one was impotent to begin with. As long as you marry into her family, take good care of your wife, and don't smoke, whore, or gamble. You're guaranteed a lifetime of wealth and glory. I was skeptical, but I decided to take the advice. I looked up at my biased father, my sharp-tongued stepmother, and my brother with his brilliant future, and nodded lightly. Fine, I agreed to marry into her family. 2 Olivia was very generous. A bride price of $880,000, plus a car and a house. She gave me plenty of face. But these things, which should have been mine, were withheld. My stepmom and dad both wanted me to leave the money at home for my younger brother Simon's marriage. My father tapped the table with his tobacco-stained yellow fingers, motioning for everyone to look at him. It's settled then. Marrying into her family follows the same rules as marrying off a daughter. Just leave the bride price at home for your brother's wedding. Seeing the unpleasant look on my face, he then added, Of course, we're not giving you nothing. Your auntie bought you a car as part of your dowry so people won't look down on you. As soon as he finished speaking, my stepmom rode in on a brand new electric bicycle from outside. A large red flower was tied to it, looking quite festive. My stepmom glanced at me smugly. Now let's see which of the neighbors dares to say I mistreated you. But the bullet comments offered a different opinion. Wow, they're planning to sell their son. Trying to trade a crappy e-bike for an $880,000 bride price. Their scheming is so loud I can hear it in bed. If their son has no money for marriage, let him earn it himself. Why should they use your money to get him a wife? If you agree, you're a complete and utter, hopeless idiot. I thought about it all night, and realized they were right. This is my bride price, so it's my money. It should stay in my hands, and I'm not giving it to anyone. I looked up at the family, who were preparing to count the money, and said lightly, The bride price. Olivia said I have to take it all with me, or the wedding is off. As soon as my stepmom heard the marriage might be off, she thought about her gambling debts and panicked. She immediately said they didn't want any of the bride price, and even insisted that I take the electric bicycle they had provided as a dowry. Looking at the several $100,000 that suddenly appeared on my bank card, I felt a bit more at ease. No matter what, the money in my hand was real. 3 Olivia was someone who hated trouble. She couldn't even be bothered with a wedding, and just had people send me directly to the bridal chamber. Looking at the luxurious room and the exquisite wedding photos, I couldn't help but feel anxious, frantically asking the bullet comments in my mind. I'm married into the family in Simon's place. Won't Olivia be angry when she finds out? It's fine. She went from being an abandoned orphan to taking back control of the Olivia family. What kind of schemes hasn't she seen? Just be upfront with her. Sincerity is the most moving thing. Before long, Olivia returned. As expected of a company president, she exuded an air of nobility and authority without being angry. I mustered my courage and, following the bullet comments advice, confessed everything about switching places with my brother. Olivia stared at my face for a moment, and then a smile appeared on her exquisite features. She walked over, hooked my chin with her finger, and said, Your brother is afraid of me, aren't you? Remembering the bullet comments reminder, I chose to tell the truth. I am. Of course I'm afraid, but I'd rather take a gamble than be pushed around by them for the rest of my life. Olivia burst out laughing. You're certainly honest, but none of your predecessors managed to get any money out of me. Looking at her beckoning finger and provocative gaze, I didn't hesitate. I followed the bullet comments guidance and kissed her on the lips. Then let's see if I can make President Olivia spend money on me willingly. Olivia clearly hadn't expected me to be so forward, but she was a veteran of many battles. We went at it until dawn, soaking the bed, before Olivia finally rested, satisfied. The next day when she woke up, her complexion was much more radiant. She casually pulled 2 stacks of cash from her bag and tossed them on me. A man in his early 20s really is different. Get some nourishment and keep it up. The moment I walked out of the room, the bullet comments appeared above my head again. How about that? brothers didn't lie to you, right? An old Ferrari is still a Ferrari. For there's a custom here where a man who marries into a family, just like a daughter who marries out, has to pay a visit to his family on the third day. Olivia was busy with a contract negotiation and didn't have time to go back with me. But Olivia was so enthusiastic she insisted on sending me 100,000 yuan to buy some gifts for my parents. I went on a shopping spree and bought a whole trunk full of snacks. The Maybach never thought it would see the day its trunk was filled with snacks. All my aunts and uncles had come. Knowing I had married a billionaire CEO, they all wanted to get something out of it. I opened the trunk and gave everyone present a bag of snacks. At the family dinner, my younger brother put on the full airs of a student union president. He started directing us where to sit, telling our father to take the main seat. During the meal, my father and stepmother, not giving up, tried to play pitiful again to trick some money out of me. I even had the nerve to ask them for living expenses. They rushed to kick me out, repeatedly reminding me not to come home if there was no reason to. Having married into the Olivia family, I was now one of them. When I got home that evening, Olivia had returned exceptionally early. She was wearing a light purple nightgown, lounging leisurely on the bed. My legs were trembling. She wanted it every day, and every time it took half the night. No normal man could handle this. No wonder all those men before couldn't take it. I was just about to find an excuse to refuse. The bullet comments floated out again. Such a tempting beauty, other people would be dying for this chance, and you're pushing her away. I pouted pitifully. Who could stand her wanting it like this every single night? She's treating me like a workhorse. Simultaneously envious and sympathetic. JPG. But what Olivia values is your looks and your body. That's why she provides you with good food and drink. If you can't even satisfy this little need of hers, I'm afraid your sugar mama won't want you anymore. A bitter smile touched the corners of my mouth. She wears me out like this every day. Even if I wanted to, I don't have the strength. Do I really have to take some pills? The bullet comments went silent for a moment, then someone actually supported me taking pills to serve Olivia well. Just at this critical moment, someone quietly sent a comment. Do you guys remember that if we make the protagonist obey and complete the mission, we can add points for him? Let's just add all the talent points to his stamina. Everyone had a sudden realization and rushed to check the long-forgotten talent panel. Not long after, waves of warmth spread from my lower body, and my condition improved dramatically. Seeing the tent gradually pitch, Olivia was quite satisfied with her own charm. A moment later, my mouth was already dry. Looking at the noble beauty before me, I couldn't hold back any longer. I pounced on her. If, in the past few days, she was like a flower thirsting for water, then I was now a ravenous beast, frantically ravaging her branches. A few hours later, even someone as strong as Olivia was dazed, gently tugging my arm. That's enough. Had enough? You have to understand, Olivia wouldn't even frown when signing contracts worth hundreds of billions. I never expected her to yield in bed. With divine power boosting me, and in the heat of the moment, I naturally wouldn't let a great beauty like Olivia go so easily. I lowered my head, kissed her on the lips, and prepared for another 300 rounds. We tumbled in the sheets again and again, making Olivia surrender completely, lying in bed without even the will to move. I had to carry her to the bathroom to wash up before tucking her into bed to sleep. But Olivia, like a little woman, clung tightly to my neck, refusing to let go. A night of tenderness. 5. The next day, it was late morning when I woke up. Usually, Olivia would be long gone from the bedside at this hour. But this time, not only was she there, she was still asleep. She was wrapped around me like an octopus, clinging on for dear life. Indeed, the best way to conquer a woman is to conquer her in bed. But to capture a woman's heart, you still have to capture her stomach. I quietly slipped into the kitchen and made a sumptuous brunch. I had already inquired about Olivia's preferences, and these few dishes were made specifically to her taste. Normally, besides in bed, Olivia would be all business in her cold suits, barely paying me any attention. But this time when she got up, she was actually wearing loose pajamas and had her hair tied in a simple ponytail. She looked just like a little stay-at-home wife. The sight made my heart pound, and I wanted to go for another round. Morning. You were, quite capable last night. Olivia gave me a thumbs up, showing her approval. The bullet comments, however, were laughing their heads off. We put all the talent points into that. If he wasn't capable, it would have been a waste. Hee. Do you feel like that high and mighty, noble Olivia has suddenly become much gentler? Of course, sexual satisfaction is the prerequisite for a happy life. I accepted her praise with a calm expression and took the initiative to pull out a chair, inviting her to sit and taste my cooking. The more Olivia ate, the more pleasantly surprised she became. Chef Leon is a Michelin chef, but your cooking is even more to my taste than his. From now on, you two can take turns cooking for me. Olivia changed the subject. Also, I think your living allowance should be raised from the original 10,000 to 50,000. 50,000 a month, 600,000 a year, 6 million in 10 years. Enough to retire on. I tried my best to suppress the corners of my rising mouth. Who said it was hard to get a raise? This was way too easy. I had no ambition to take over her company. I just wanted to stay by her side and save some money. Even if she really divorced me in the future, I would at least be financially secure for the rest of my life. I was determined to hold on to this golden thigh of Olivia's. Olivia suddenly told me to drive her to the company and tossed over a stack of cash, telling me not to refuse. I didn't hold back at all, stuffing it right into my pocket. Esteemed Miss Olivia, it's my pleasure to serve you. That wasn't a lie. Who wouldn't be happy to see a stack of cash? In the car, Olivia was dressed in casual clothes, her long, pale legs exposed without a care. I was puzzled. President Olivia, don't high-class business people like you usually wear suits? You're going to work dressed like this? Olivia looked at the documents in her hand without lifting her head. Those aren't high-class people, those are employees. Have you ever seen anyone dressed so formally every day when they go to their own company? Hiss, that seemed right. Her long, pale legs dangled before my eyes, and I was already feeling thirsty. If I weren't driving, I would have pounced on her long ago. For now, I could only take the opportunity to cop a feel. Olivia didn't get angry, just shot me a couple of playful, reproachful glances. The bullet comments were speechless, frowny-faced two old pervs found each other. You two are a good match. One has a high demand, the other is full of energy. I can't even imagine how good it must be when you two do it. I just needed to drop Olivia off at the company, and then I was free. But it was my first time in such a big company, so I couldn't help but want to look around. So Olivia assigned her secretary, Kevin, to me and had him show me around. I squinted my eyes, and knew right away that something was off with this Kevin. He was friendly on the surface, but his eyes were cold and sharp. I asked the bullet comments in my head, "What's going on? I don't have any beef with him, do I?" He's her personal secretary. You can guess what their relationship was. Now you're satisfying Olivia all by yourself, so she has no need for him. You've cut off his financial path and his access to a beauty. Who would he hate if not you? It dawned on me. No wonder he called me bro, so respectfully, but his eyes looked like he wanted to kill me. He probably thought he was hiding it well, chatting with me enthusiastically. Bro, following President Olivia around every day can't be easy, right? President Olivia is almost 40. Let's be honest, she's probably starting to get that old person smell. How about I take you out for some fun, little bro? My treat? You don't have to spend a dime. I snapped my head to look at him. His motive was way too obvious. Did he take me for an idiot? He just wanted me to cheat, so he could get back into Olivia's good graces. I waved my hands repeatedly. No thanks, bro. I appreciate the thought. Along the way, Kevin praised me to the high heavens. As the saying goes, flattery will get you everywhere, and I did enjoy the feeling of being put on a pedestal. For the first 20 years of my life, I was almost always bullied. To suddenly be in a position of power, being praised like this, felt amazing. The bullet comments were afraid I'd fall for it, and frantically reminded me, frowny face, you absolutely cannot go. If Olivia finds out, you'll definitely lose your male dignity, the bride price will be returned, and you'll be kicked out. I nodded confidently. Nothing could tempt me more than money, but this guy was no good. Keeping him by Olivia's side would inevitably be a problem. I asked the bullet comments if I could turn the tables on him and get rid of him. The bullet comments paused for 2 seconds, then one after another, they sent a thumbs up emoji. I shook my head. How is this being a villain? It's obvious this guy is shady. What if he catches a disease and passes it to Olivia? Then I wouldn't be able to escape either. With that, I immediately turned on my phone's video and audio recording, preparing to secure the evidence. Seeing that I was interested, Kevin immediately started the car and prepared to leave. On the way, I asked him if he still went out to play often after getting with Olivia. He seemed not to have expected that I would be recording. He didn't hold anything back and told me everything. When we arrived, he specifically asked for the best and youngest girls to serve me. I said I didn't have money. He grinned at me and pulled out a black card. It's fine, President Olivia has money. Using someone else's money to find his own women. This guy was interesting. Seeing me hesitate, he immediately called over 2 young beauties, putting an arm around each of them. It's fine, bro. I come here all the time. President Olivia won't find out. I immediately took out my phone when he wasn't looking and captured the moment he had his arms around the beauties. I sent it to Olivia, along with the audio recording. A beauty led me into a room. I remained seated on the chair, perfectly still. There were probably more cameras in this room than on a movie set. A moment later, a scream erupted from the next room. Even though the room was very soundproof, his cry was simply too heart-wrenching. Kevin was fired by Olivia. His high-paying job was gone, and he would never have a chance to get close to Olivia again. Olivia even came personally to slap him and tell him to get as far away as possible. I held Olivia's hand with a wrong look on my face. I said I didn't want to come. You're the only one in my heart. But he insisted I come. Olivia's gaze was dark, her expression unreadable. Seeing her expression, the bullet comments started guessing, frowny face, it's over. Bro, Olivia saw right through your little scheme. I steeled myself. I hadn't cheated. The worst that could happen was that she'd dump me too. I could still walk away with $1 million. When we got home, it was just the 2 of us in the house. Her cold eyes looked at me, sending a chill down my spine. I decided to speak first and confess. I did set him up. But he really does mess around. You might not be afraid of catching a disease, but I'm afraid of catching one. Besides, what man is willing to share his wife with others? It's not like I can't satisfy you. Olivia looked as if she had heard a hilarious joke. She looked at me with a hint of mockery. I've had a sex addiction since I was young. I want it every day, and for a long time every time. That's why I had to hire male models and change husbands. It was all because of this. But still, no man has ever been able to satisfy me. She scanned me up and down. You do have some skills, but can you guarantee you'll have the energy every day? That you can be like last night, every night? I had been full of energy lately, but who could guarantee the future? I had to ask the bullet comments. Bro, we've already maxed out your talent points in energy and physique. Go ahead and promise with confidence. With their guarantee, I was full of confidence. I wrapped my arm directly around Olivia's slender waist. What if I said I can? Olivia's eyes were seductive, full of teasing. All right. If you can be a bridegroom every night, I can promise you I won't look for anyone else. And don't you like money? As long as you can satisfy me, I can give you 100,000 a night. I couldn't hear the rest of her words clearly, only Olivia's muffled moans. 6. For several years, not a single night passed without us making love. We'd do it at night, and again in the morning. Although Olivia still maintained her cold female CEO persona outside, at home, she was completely like a little woman. Other than not letting me touch the company, she went along with me on pretty much everything else. TSK, serving one person is so much easier than working for a living. At 10 in the morning, I slowly got out of bed and ate the brunch that had been prepared long ago. I planned to go to the mall to buy Olivia some clothes, and then take her on a trip abroad in a couple of days. This life was incredibly comfortable. I didn't expect that just as I arrived at the mall and was about to have the valet park my car, I would see my brother Simon, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. He was wearing a wrinkled suit, carrying milk powder and diapers, and arguing with a security guard. I was only parked for an hour and 40 or 50 extra minutes. Why are you charging me for 2 hours? I'm sorry, sir. Anything over an hour and a half is charged as 2 hours. After arguing for a long time, Simon reluctantly paid the 10 yuan. Watching Simon worry over 10 yuan, I thought about how a single step on the gas in my Maybach cost more than that. I was glad I listened to the advice and chose Olivia. The old saying is true, listen to advice, and you won't go hungry. After some thought, I bought some rice, flour, oil, and baby formula, and secretly followed Simon home. The once spacious courtyard had been replaced by 2 small, remote bungalows. In the end, he studied for 3 years, and couldn't even pass the written part of the civil service exam. As it turned out, Chloe was no easy person to deal with. After she spent all the bride price money, she decided Simon was incompetent and divorced him. Now he no longer talked about being the student union president or becoming a department director in the future. He had to split every penny he earned in 2. His mom also went from a woman who only knew how to gamble to a venomous shrew who watched the child at home all day. As soon as he pushed open the door, she saw Simon and started cursing him out. You useless thing! I told you to marry into a rich family, but you wouldn't listen. The old man took a couple of hard puffs on his pipe. When we drove him away back then, why didn't you say he was my own son? I watched from outside the door, my heart feeling a little heavy. In the end, I didn't push the door open. I just left the things I bought at the entrance. After a moment's thought, I stuffed 20,000 yuan into the bag. It wouldn't help much, but at least it would keep them from starving. I drove my luxury car, the trunk filled with designer clothes I'd bought for Olivia, stepped on the gas, and sped away. Everyone has their own fate. They are their own choices. But when you should listen to advice, you must listen.